Hey, how's it going, guys and gals? Welcome. We're here back for this week's episode of The INNsider, joined by Drunk Canadian, Captain Tutu, Potato Pleb, and our guest, White Llama Poo Poo, which might actually become a regular here soon, I hear.
That is probably accurate.
Got a lot of big stuff coming up today. There has been a lot of weird movement, not only in just the streaming content creator industry. We've got a lot of stuff that's going on in regards to lawsuits, which has kind of been a surprise this week. There's been a lot of random lawyers talk around for all this stuff, and some of them are pretty big, followed by a few new updates or new releases, updates, stuff like that, and also some news elsewhere. So let's kind of dig into it. Some of it was, we're going to start off with this week's new releases, and some of it was a little bit later than before, but new Conan Exiles DLC, which I was really excited about. I don't know, DC, have you got to check that out yet?
I have not, man. I haven't looked at it at all, to be honest.
That's
the only Conan I did was cancel my server.
Oh no! I was just getting ready to check it out too on there.
No.
My hopes and dreams crushed.
It's always easily restartable, you know.
Do they save your server settings and everything?
I just download the backup file of it.
Oh, gotcha. Well, that's pretty cool. Then it makes it easy. They got a bunch of new armors, story, little story bits that people have been finding here and there, including some new big, like the big creatures you could summon and whatnot. So that's been pretty cool. It's the Imperial East pack.
Avatar?
Yeah, so it's like that crazy looking avatar. I like how PC Gamer describes it as the cock-swinging survival game.
That's perfect.
That pretty much sums it up perfectly.
Like, there's no other way to look at it that way than that way. I mean, I remember the first week of streams, you could go through Conan Exiles, and all you see is people being like, "Oh my god, the endowment!"
Yeah.
Oh man, but that was a pretty good one. Another one is State of Decay 2 gets a 4th of July themed revolutionary pack, revolutionary war pack, which is actually pretty cool. I got to check that out yesterday. I had a lot of fun with that. Like, the new vehicles in it were pretty cool. The outfits are just kind of ridiculous, and then it does up some of the zombies in the same fashion too, as if there was like a 4th of July parade going on and the zombie outbreak hit there.
Mm-hmm. What's the cost?
I think this is the one. Yeah, I think it was like $5, $5 or $10.
There's free DLC too, right?
Yeah, there was free DLC also. Yeah, this one's $5
Okay.
for the independent
4th of July skins. Paladin's got an American skin because there's that character Khan.
Oh.
It's the most butt ugly thing that I've ever seen in a video game, just about, dude. Like, it's totally gnarly.
Try wagon. No, it's not EVE Online, buddy. We're doing the this week's gaming news. It's one of our new talk shows here on INN.
The news in gaming.
USA flags on Titans. Man, that'd be interesting if they did that. I don't know if CCP would ever do it though.
All things America.
Right?
Guns. explosions, Michael Bay.
Pretty much.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Right? I kind of miss those like cheesy commercials like that because it was like you knew it was cheesy and it was great because it was cheesy.
Yeah.
I miss that too.
Sea of Thieves also got a new update for Exploding Skeletons event, which is kind of interesting. I haven't got to check this one out yet. It actually kind of came out of nowhere. Like I was looking at our news last night and I was like, Exploding Skeletons event, like I didn't get anything on that. Usually they send emails and stuff out to you, like when big updates or limited time updates come out for people to come back and check
question
them.
though is like, is anybody actually still playing Sea of Thieves?
Apparently, I mean,
I've never played it, but I have
Me
been
neither.
playing some Black Wake lately.
oh,
Nice.
did you get it from
Fun, actually.
the humble bundle?
Yeah, the humble bundle.
Yeah, that is a really fun game too. Like I liked that one when we originally got it back. I think it was like sometime last year when it started out in this early access trip. But they put a lot of stuff in that game, and that's another game I really feel like I need to go back and check out again because of the
I need to
Fortress
check it out,
updates,
too.
and it's a little bit more like serious pirate game, which is really cool. I really like the aspect of that.
It's a little clunky, in my opinion.
Yeah, like
Like,
the gun
The
stuff
game itself, when you play it, feels cumbersome, But maybe it's supposed to, because you had to like load your musket back in the day, and
Yeah.
little gunpowder, little plunger thing.
Yeah,
Don't
it actually makes you
Don't
go through
put
like the
that in
motions
that
of
thing
actually
when I
like
just did.
the little.
Oh my god, I just saw a playback.
But yeah, there's a lot of great stuff in that, so that was kind of cool to see the Sea of Thieves update. Yeah, Black Week is also another one I really want to check out again. The Humble Bundle is only another 2 days left before you guys can get it for $12.
See, I never thought Black Wake was like that serious because when you play as the British, like their voices just make you laugh.
Yeah, it's kind of silly.
And they're
but-
drinking tea to get like healthy, like sitting in the corner drinking tea. Like I didn't ever think Black Wake was a
Yeah,
serious
I don't know
game.
if it's a more serious Sea of Thieves. It's just maybe like a slightly
Like,
less
graphically,
cartoony version.
I was gonna say, yeah, graphically it's not as like,
Yeah.
but it's still a joke of a game.
Yeah, I mean they try to be a little bit more serious, but that one,
Accents.
if there was ever a first, like Black Week actually did come out first by a lot. I
Oh,
mean, it
big
depends
time.
if
Yeah,
you.
that thing's been in like early alpha or some crap like that for like what 2 years or something.
I think it was last year it launched in early access in Steam for the first time,
Oh.
but they've
Okay, what's this
updated
one?
tons of it.
Since you guys mentioned Sea of Thieves, do you guys know how No Man's Sky actually develops?
No Man's Sky actually develops.
This is a real question.
No,
DC can help us
That's
out on
okay.
this one.
That's a good question.
Hold on. They're apparently, I'm guessing, about to drop their largest update ever. The first time. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah, I
No
don't
Man's Sky Next is coming out later on here in July.
And
Oh, is that the
Yeah,
one
it
with
should be
the supposed
full
to be
multiplayer.
I can see the commercial now. Now, No Man's Sky, and this time we promise you nothing. Bye now.
Well, it's like the who made it? I
It
think
comes
it's PC
free
Gamer.
though.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's a free
It's a
update.
free update. Every update they've had on that game has been free. but I don't
They
think
had to.
they
If they charge for another update.
Plan that.
Years later, we finally get the content they promised years ago.
Yeah.
Thank
I gotta admit though, like I went back to it and played it a little bit when their last real big update came out. They did a great job actually adding stuff to that game and making it fun.
I've been playing it a shit ton since it came out and like following it all through all of its updates until now, and it is not at all the same game. It is so much
Yeah.
better, and it's
Completely different game.
it's actually
as well.
better than what they promised originally when they promised it was going to be this crazy game. They've actually made it better than the original promises.
Oh,
And
that's
then
good.
this next
Yeah.
update is supposed to be like unreal.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that with this next update they'll get some more attention and stuff, because like the game really is good, and I know there's a lot of people that have never even jumped back into it after
There's a crazy
after the
community
beta
though.
launch.
Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but they created a galactic hub in the Euclid galaxy, which is like the first galaxy you start in. There's like thousands and thousands of people living in this like galactic hub that play every day and like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. There's like a whole Reddit forum and everything. They're like sharing exploration data and like different planets that you can go to find certain things. It's
Oh,
nuts.
that's groovy.
That's
I know
awesome.
that
I
they
actually
have
ran
like a
into
pretty
people.
cool community. You've actually ran into people. No shit.
Yeah, 2 shows. So not last show, but the show before, I was playing No Man's Sky in the background, and like I went to a system based off the Galactic Hub to get like an S-class multi-tool, and I ran into people in there, and I could hear them, and I couldn't figure out what the fuck it was. Like, what is this? I can hear people. It was other people in that system talking to me, and like, yeah, you can actually run into them and chat and like interact with them.
It's multiplayer without multiplayer, basically.
Yeah, like everybody's a glowing orb at this point, but then come July 27th, I think, it's gonna be like full interactable multiplayer.
Oh.
Wow. I'll have to give it another try.
My logo's all cut off, man. The people are mad about it.
What, the
There you go.
Club?
Chat. Yeah.
Oh, this is when I was fixing it. Whoops.
There we
It's
go.
because you were in the
That's
middle of
better.
making potato chips and you just shaved it off the
That's
top.
better. Yeah, exactly.
the real meaning behind it.
I think Pringles was originally supposed to be like a tennis ball company. Don't they look like you're supposed to put tennis balls in those
Yes.
canisters?
Oh yeah.
They ordered balls but got sent potatoes. They're like, fuck it, chop them up, put them in the can, let's go.
Basically, right?
But
So-
the other thing with No Man's Sky Next is they haven't really released a whole lot of details other than multiplayer. Like everything's up to speculation. Like people are speculating like character creation and customization, different all kinds based on like the cover art, but they haven't actually.
Oh boy, I hope people don't get overhyped.
Yeah.
Because there's like a ringed planet in the cover art for the Xbox. People are like, ringed planets, they're coming. Because like in nowhere in No Man's Sky is there rings around any planet.
Yeah, there
It's
are
kinda
no
like-
ring planets. That is true.
Yeah. So people are like, well, they can't put it on the cover art unless it's coming into the game. I'm like, that logic is terrible.
That logic is absolutely terrible because devs do whatever they want with the game in the end and change the cover art
Whatever
or
the
marketing.
fuck I want on the cover.
Basically, there's nothing that empty promises. I mean, at this
You
point,
know, I will say though, like for the like they're well aware that people were like, hey, where's all the ringed planets, dude? So like if they put it in the cover art, I would almost expect that like they knew what they were doing.
I'm
Right.
not gonna lie to you, man. Like, I didn't even notice there was no cover, like, no ringed planets. I was just always exploring and never actually cared
Yeah.
what the planets kind of looked like. It wasn't until I like read a forum post about it that I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And now I can't unsee it. You know what I mean?
it's that one like look into it and you're like, damn it, now I can't.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like now it's there. Now I care.
I don't really know if it's possible to get overhyped because I feel like this update is bringing so much of what players wanted like in the first place. I'm really
Yeah.
excited. I'm gonna pick it up on the Steam sale
What is it?
myself. And
Two,
I mean,
2 years,
like,
2 years later.
Be straight up multiplayer, and like you could run into people on planets and fight them, and have big ass space battles and stuff like that.
Yep.
I mean,
And you can
that's gonna
co-op
be-
it up. But the other
Yeah,
thing too
yeah.
is like if you still want to have that solo experience, that's the one thing that No Man or Hello Games actually said. Like there's an offline mode. There always has been an offline mode. So if you don't want to
Yeah.
get trolled and like have PvP,
Right.
like you can just still play it in the classic sense with all the new
If you
content,
like to
just with other
play in
players.
like a soulless, freaking empty wasteland. Well, it's not really wasteland.
Like
but, you know,
playing the original
I
game.
feel so lonely when I play
Pretty
that
much.
game. Like I have no friends.
Dude, it was crazy when I ran into people like 2 weeks ago. I was like, oh my god. I was like super excited. I just like, there's other people in this fucking game. What the
Doesn't
hell?
it currently like it just shows like a little ball of light or something?
Yeah, it's a
like
little,
that?
well, sort of. Like, if you
Yeah.
actually are standing next to them, they're a ball of light. But on like your HUD, it shows you if they're flying or if they're in an exocraft or what exocraft they're in, if they're in their base. So it does have a lot more data than just a ball of light. But yeah, you still can't fully interact with people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm
Sounds
excited.
good, though, man. Space battles in that game would be pretty epic.
Yeah, they would, especially because you do it
That
mostly
does-
all first person, right?
Changes everything.
Yeah.
Well, you can mod it to have third person for flying.
Oh, you can?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
another thing. Is how are they going to affect mods? Because now I know it's
Oh,
so
for
modded
flying.
now.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, because I would like had mods for like graphics and third person flying when I ran into that guy the other day or the other week, and like it didn't stop us from interacting. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I'm curious if that'll change. Like if there's any gameplay, like changing things, that they'll probably cut those out or something.
I'm not sure if they're really worried about hacking, because like how would you really hack No Man's Sky? Like have extra resources? Because like aimbot really wouldn't be a thing. It's already basically lock on aim anyway,
True. That
and
is
everybody
very
shows up on your radar. So like, what's walls gonna do for you?
Yeah.
what about for like PvP? Is this update gonna have like a PvP kind of system? Do you know?
There is PvP, but it's not separate from the core game. So like you could be flying around exploring, run into some guy, and he's like, "I'm gonna blow you up now." And it's not like
Yeah.
you lose shit. Like your ship will drop some of its inventory, but you don't lose your ship. You don't lose like your multi-tool or anything. So you can just kill each other to hopefully steal like some rare resources.
I'm assuming it'll probably be similar to like when you die in the game too. Like somebody comes along and kills your ass, your stuff is gonna drop right there, and you can go back and pick it up or whatever.
Maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm assuming in PvP, I'm assuming that guy can probably pick up your shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That would make
Otherwise,
sense.
there's kind of no reason to really fight unless there's like PvP stats.
Yeah. Stats would be good. Kitty cat.
Because everything in that game is a milestone, right? Like you always get those stupid milestones that pop up. There's probably going to be PvP milestones.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing it. I mean, No Man's Sky is the last game that I ever pre-ordered.
I feel like this
And,
just-
yeah, I've never done it since.
I feel like this just became our main topic of the day.
Yeah,
Well, it's a big update that's coming really soon.
Yeah, that is a big deal, man.
I'll definitely give it another shot. I'm rooting for him. I mean, I had this really. I mean, anybody in my community will tell you, like, man, I talked crap about them for so long because they burned me so bad, and I was like, they're never gonna redeem themselves. I hope they do. You made a mistake. They owned up to it.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of. And hopefully this next update will, be the game that we've always wanted it to be. I was very excited about this one, as I think everybody was. So definitely will. I mean, I rebought it a couple of I think last Steam sale. So we'll see.
I think they
definitely
redeemed
give it a try.
themselves. Like they offered everybody refunds. Like not
Actually, they
just
have the game on PlayStation. I haven't played it on PC.
Yeah, I got it on PlayStation and PC. I prefer it on PC though.
Yeah. I mean, it's
For
easier.
Flying's
It
easier.
just
on.
feels like a controller type game anyway.
I find like on the console it's weird because like it like stops your turning randomly when it thinks there's something that could be of interest to you. But I find a lot of times that just gets in the way of you like trying to turn around. It'll like kind of like slow down the turning and then speed it back up, and it's like it's weird.
That stuff's really weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, I get it's like some sort of weird aim assist, but it's like for interacting with items too and like other stuff, not just aiming.
Oh yeah. So let's keep going on our industry news, which is our next big segment of items today, which is kind of weird. There's a lot of weird news that came out this week, and some of it actually kind of confused me. For example, GameStop, not everybody's favorite place unless you really like trading in your physical copies of games. They're looking to get bought out right now, or potentially get bought out, which is kind of interesting. They've been kind of prepping themselves, like kind of behind the scenes, and people have started noticing that it seems like they might be actually doing it this time. And there's been on and off talks for quite a while now of that being a thing, potentially. So they've declined to comment any further on it than the fact that they've got a hedge fund company looking at it. It's been prompted by them. So it's kind of interesting. It's there in the article. A lot of cool stuff about it. I'm kind of curious to see if that ever would happen because, I mean, GameStop, everybody thought they were, the big behemoth at one point, but the fact that, digital is really kind of taking over is affecting their business quite a bit. And the fact that, nobody wants to trade in 20 of their games for $1.15.
No.
So
How come there isn't a Netflix for video games?
There is.
There
It's Game
actually
Pass.
is.
well, that's Xbox Game Pass and the new
PlayStation Now.
PlayStation Now and the Origin Premiere that's coming out soon.
PlayStation Now, though, but like you can't play those games on your PC. What if you don't want to be a console pleb?
I thought you
Well,
could play PlayStation now on your PC, right? Some games.
Yeah, there's a couple games, yeah.
Hmm.
Not very
There is
many.
a PC one. I'm drawing a blank on what it's called, but there actually is one. But they don't have a very diverse catalog of games. And
So it's just like Netflix then.
pretty much, yeah.
Like if you want to watch anything good, it's not on Netflix. But if you want to watch
Right.
mediocre crap for endless days, then you fire it up, Netflix.
Yeah. With games, I read about a week ago that they were actually exploring comic books.
Yeah.
For GameStop as well.
That was the thing I
And
saw too.
I just kind of laughed at that because it's like, okay, so they're already dying because everything's going into digital. So let's replace it with another equally dying,
Media.
dying resource, comic books. So
But is comic books really dying? I don't
it's-
think that's a true
well,
statement.
it's nowhere near what it once was. A lot of people are going digital now with that as well.
Yeah, even like DC, Marvel, all the major
I mean, I know
publishers.
there's like digital comic books and stuff,
Yeah.
but
It's cheaper. Like a lot of those people they can get their same comics for a $10 a month subscription. And they're not paying $3 to $4 a comic book at that point.
So, but hang on though, hang on, because comic books and stuff like that, those are collectible items.
Mm-hmm.
Like the hard copies of those will never go away. People weren't collecting like hard copies of movies because it was a cool thing to collect. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a convention, Comic-Con, that's actually coming
There's
up in 2
rare
weeks.
issues that come out, and then old issues that are, you know, like worth shit tons of money. The comics industry, I don't necessarily know you can group that in with something like video stores dying, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, that's
kind
just
of,
my opinion, I guess.
It does kind of feel like GameStop's going the way of Blockbuster. I mean, just, you know, once, you know, Redbox and Netflix and all these streaming services started popping up, I mean, Blockbuster died. GameStop, I mean, I hate to say it because, I mean, GameStop, sometimes you can find some good deals up in there, but, I mean, everything's going digital. And unless they change their entire business model, you know, it's going to be tough for them. So
Didn't those digital license keys for multiplayer start to kind of kill things like GameStop? Like, remember that first happened when you couldn't trade your like physical copy anymore because there was a key for multiplayer that came with it?
Yeah.
That started to kind of, that was like the beginning of the end.
Basically.
Because now you
You
had to pay
know,
a fee
I
to
don't
give
want
a game away. Like,
GameStop
that's
to
fucking
die.
stupid.
I'm just gonna say I don't want GameStop to die because it's like the whole nostalgia thing. I'm sad that there's no video stores to go inside of it.
yeah, I don't like that Blockbuster's dead either. but-
Apparently, there's still Family Video, but they don't have any of those out here. But apparently, that's like a
No.
big chain that's still a thing. But
Oh yeah.
anyways.
There's still some that like people would rather prefer going to a video store and being able to talk to the people and see like what's out there, what's new, what's happening. I mean, I worked at a video store in my late teens, and I had a blast. I mean, it was a family-owned store; it was different, but
Yeah.
like people would come in just for that experience to be able to come in and check it out and talk to the people and figure out what's new, what's not, you know, what's worth seeing. Like get that, you know, that little extra opinion than other just going and finding out for yourself by paying your $2 or $3 or whatever it is for Redbox. Or even more for your digital services, depending on what you're going. So there was an interesting thing that came up this week with YouTube, where a content creator started realizing his thumbnails and other like miscellaneous stuff was rearranged. And then he made a comment to YouTube on Twitter, and they replied saying, "Hey, we're running a small experiment where 0.3% of our viewers are auto-generating thumbnails based on and you're replacing your custom thumbnail. We're not removing the ability to do that, but we're trying to give some more insights into auto-generated thumbnails for the future." Now, mind you, they didn't ask for permission on this, like at all. And it's really interesting to see how YouTube actually they replied directly to this, and everybody's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, we pay money for artists to come and do our thumbnails for our videos, and you're doing what to us without our permission?" And it
You
turned
can always take your business elsewhere to the competition for YouTube. What is that again?
like right away. Like his original tweet has only 22 replies, but the reply that YouTube posted has 4,500 replies to just their tweet. They're like, everybody's like, "What the hell, man?"
I don't understand how they think this is a good idea.
Well,
Like, I just can't fathom how, because thumbnails are pretty damn important for especially YouTube. You know, you can kind of almost get a sense of somebody's creative ability, maybe the quality of their content by their thumbnail, as opposed to just some random screenshot of their video. I don't understand why they're doing this.
and it's not even something they can opt in or opt out for. So it's kind of like,
Right.
what is going on here? Like, this is bullshit. And people were upset and rightfully so. They had no reason, you know, that they couldn't have just had an opt-in notice or, you know, say, "Hey, we're running a test. If this happens to you, just, you know, you could go and change it here." And none of that. You know, that's the right way of communication. And that was the same thing we talked about with the big Mixer uprising lately. How Mixer's really pulling it in and trying to pull in a lot of content creators, which apparently has gotten up pretty big. Somebody was doing a rough estimate on Twitter just the other day and was saying just last month alone from the content creators that left Twitch for Mixer was something around like $7 or $8 million lost revenue for just those content creators alone. And I'm just like, wow, that's a big, you know, that's a pretty big hit in regards to that. But then you have YouTube that's already been on a decline because of the same thing. Like, they're not telling their content creators enough. They're pulling ad revenue and monetization from tons of videos for almost next to no reason when they were making tons of that before. The content hasn't changed. They haven't gotten more rude or crude or anything like that. They're just saying, oh, this might not be advertiser friendly. We're not going to take a chance with this, so we're going to pull your monetization, which is driving people like in droves away from the platform. I mean, what they saw from the fourth quarter of last year to the first quarter of this year was something like a 15% drop in content creation on the platform as a whole, which is insane to see that much go away right at once.
What's this, Twitch or YouTube?
YouTube. So people are like, YouTube Live and stuff like that is becoming almost obsolete because people aren't, well, not obsolete. It's not becoming obsolete, but it's on the decline because of these kind of reactionary things that they're doing and not telling anybody. Which, you know, information's key when it comes to content creation, especially when you're dealing with millions of people that are on your platform. It's kind of crazy, you know?
Yeah. Transparency is important.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of transparency, that kind of leads into our next topic. Twitch is trying to be more transparent with their content creation, which is kind of a thing for streamers. A lot of things since this Mixer Revolution kind of thing that's been happening lately is the fact that a lot of these content creators are upset because they don't feel like Twitch is doing enough to help them, which is understandable. Any channel, like you put your heart and your soul and your time and your energy and your money and whatever else towards making really good content on your channel. But what good is that if now the oversaturation is a real thing on Twitch? Mm-hmm. I mean, you have an average of 150,000 new content creators on Twitch every month, and sometimes it's even more than
that much.
Yeah. It's on an average of 150,000 new content creators every month.
Literally everybody and their grandma is streaming.
Yeah.
That's true.
And that's why a lot of these tools and services, all that kind of stuff is coming up big. And by the way, I have to change out my battery real quick. But you guys can hold this and talk about this for a second, what you guys' thoughts about it. I'm going to change my battery real quick.
Well, transparency is important. And I mean, I like that they have the new Trello service where you can go and just kind of see what Twitch is making, what Twitch has in its plans. I actually have this hope that they don't put everything on the Trello, and the reason why is it's kind of like Christmas, you know, you get this unexpected gift and you're surprised by something. But the little things that they're working on, the things that they're trying to do to benefit everybody, it's cool to go down the list and say, hey, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Oh, that's not a good idea. We should like get in touch with Twitch, tweet them, let them know what you think of that. So it gives an opportunity for Twitch on their end to kind of get feedback before they fully implement everything. And then maybe just quality of life, making things better through that feedback. So I think all in all, it might reduce the amount, because we've had a lot of updates on Twitch where they updated all of a sudden without telling anybody, and all of a sudden you're like, what in the hell are they doing?
Yeah.
So at least now you get the opportunity for Twitch gets the opportunity to hear back from people who are reading this Trello and just, you know, kind of say, okay, maybe we shouldn't go in this direction, but we can move it towards this way, which will service more of the content creators.
Like for example, Twitch Pulse was the one feature not a damn person asked for, and it was the most useless fucking feature that everybody hated, and it lasted just barely a year, I think. And they're finally, Twitch Pulse is going away.
What was it?
So it was like the messaging board. If you on your homepage, it would like show you all your latest updates from your content creators, basically.
Was that stupid beta thing that was always on the side?
Yeah.
That like nobody ever used?
Exactly. Yeah. And they think well, we've got better things we could put in our real estate, so let's go ahead and remove that and use it for better things, which is good.
They ought to add something like the fucking hype zone that they had on Mixer.
Yeah,
you know what?
That'd be awesome.
The hype zone, like even if it was multiple channels, they could range it by, you know, the size of a person's channel. They could do it by the size of their base viewership before they get hosted, stuff like that. I mean, like the hype zone for Mixer is a huge thing. I mean, that's one variation of discovery that Mixer hit the nail on the head with, in my opinion. I mean, there's no reason that you can't do that.
You know what these platforms need to do? And I'm going to be like, I don't know, maybe this will be a weird thing for anyone to hear, but like, there's too many streamers and not enough viewers. And that sounds weird, right? Because there's always way more viewers than streamers, but almost everyone you ever meet on Twitch is trying to stream also. Like, people don't come to Twitch because like, hey, I want to watch video games. they go to Twitch because they want to stream, they want to get big, they want to get popular. You know what I'm saying? They want to be content creators on Twitch, and like, so what you end up having is this community of people who like you'll go and you'll hang out in your favorite streams and stuff, you know, sometimes, but like the real reason everybody's on Twitch is because they want to grow their own channel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they need to do something to progress the entertainment genre in gaming to be more like to draw more people in. So I really think that they should focus more and like try to help content creators that are more than just video game players. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, they made a huge push for creative at one point, and creative was a fantastic category for a long time. And then all of a sudden, they cut all the features that made it good. It's like, and then it just turned into another category.
Now it's just like chicks booby streaming and doing ASMR and stuff. You know?
Yeah. And that's a lot of IRL too. Like IRL's been taken over by that. But Raiden, you're right that it's good that they're being transparent. At the same time, there is stuff on that Trello board that's just kind of like, okay, we kind of already wanted that, and you're, I guess, kind of working on it now. So they're even like little features like, oh, we're gonna run out the new website. Like it's been already 2 weeks and they still haven't finished updating everybody, which is kind of weird.
There's a new website.
Well, yeah, like the front page is supposed to show the part of that discovery update. It's supposed to be showing content creators of all sizes on the front page, although it's really mostly been partners still.
I literally never go to the front page of Twitch.
Me
neither. I go to my followed, and that's pretty much it. That's like where everything stays.
You know what I usually do is I go to my channel because I'm always like auto hosting someone. So I'll like go to my channel and then watch whoever I'm auto hosting.
Yeah.
That's a good way too. Game companies need to get further on board to help streamers in their games. Take CCP, for example, are massively behind what streamers are doing. There's a lot of them a lot of companies that are really starting to push that now. So they have their creator platforms, like Crossout, for example. They have a good program, not a good management team, I don't think, behind it. Because they do all right with updating us. But for example, during E3, they're like, literally, I'm not even kidding when I say this. 10 minutes before the presentation, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna have a presentation here. You should watch it in 10 minutes." Well, excuse me?
Jeez.
10 minutes? There's no way that 80% of the people you just sent this to saw it within that time, or even got to catch it for that matter. Like, come on, guys. Like, there's better things you could be doing with that.
Mm-hmm. Streaming is like one of the best ways to kind of market your game. Like a lot of game companies are now turning to streamers, content creators to push their games and their content, which is like incredible. It's like a win-win for us and a win-win for them because we're putting them on the market, or on the map rather.
Yeah, and it doesn't cost them a whole lot.
Realm Royale is actually a really good example of that, because, like, for example, I was hyped for Realm Royale to come out for months back when it was Paladins Battlegrounds and it was supposed to be in the game of Paladins, But then, like, it comes out on Steam. One day Fortnite goes down and Ninja plays it and all the other big streamers, and then next thing you know, everybody knows about Realm Royale. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
the game is pretty cool though.
What's that? Yeah, the game is fun, man. It's just so much fun. I've been playing the shit out of it.
Like, I think that game would have got big regardless. You know what I mean? It just maybe would have taken longer.
Yeah, I think it helped. It does help though, and you get somebody who's going to pull in 100,000 viewers every time they get on. That makes a big difference. A lot of people learned about the game and wouldn't even have known about it otherwise. They'd just still be mindlessly playing Fortnite.
Yeah, Dr. Project, you bring up a good point. A lot of viewership in IRL has been people going to ASMR streams and being rather toxic. That's another thing that Twitch really, really has to put the hammer down on their terms of service. That's one thing I give massive props to Mixer on. Their terms of service are very clear and very concise. It doesn't matter how big or how small you are. If you're a jerk and you're being toxic, you're gone from our platform. We don't want you here. And that's one thing that Twitch is like really harboring because of their terms of service not being so correct. Like, people could report them and do all that stuff, but half the people get out of it because they don't have enough proof, or it doesn't follow in that, in that crack of whatever thing they're trying to be reported for and things like that. So toxicity strives a lot. And that's another thing they really, really got to push into. And the same thing with, like, booby streamers. The first time they really tried to go into this whole booby streamer or, whatever. I saw another article, actually, apparently there's a whole subreddit based on this. It's called Twitch Thoughts. I didn't know this was a thing. I thought it was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever heard. But it talks about, like, these kind of streamers and how toxic like those areas and those communities are, but they strive on it. They make a ton of money off of it. So it's crazy.
I mean, honestly, like, why are they so mad about booby streamers? Is it because like all the guy streamers were like, I don't have boobies and I can't do it, so what the hell?
Yeah, basically, that's what it turns into. Basically,
that's kind of stupid. Like, I don't mind if a chick is doing Twitch and like you can see her booby cleavage, man. Like,
yeah, but like the same thing.
I honestly
goes, like,
don't
dudes,
care.
Some ripped dude can't stream with his shirt off with like his abs or like oil up his fucking body. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
but that's what I'm
goes
saying.
both
Why
ways.
can't they? They should be. Like, I don't know. That should be a
Maybe
thing where
more about
like
gaming and not about
why does Twitch even have an option to set like mature content only viewers, you know, where like
Yeah,
people
that's-
have to come to the stream, click a
Boom.
button to say that they're 18 or older. You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Why even have that option
So that-
if you're not going to
so
allow
that's-
people
Well,
to even
there's no
like...
age verification. It's literally just be like, you can be 12 and be like, yep, I'm 18. Like,
But
Twitch
that's
doesn't
just like
verify
anywhere on
shit.
the internet. Right?
Yeah.
That's just like anywhere on the
well,
internet.
that's also the
I think
thing.
they just want it to be focused on the gaming. That's all.
You know, it's like the internet porn wasn't necessarily a thing before I turned 18, but if it was, you know, I would have been on there before I was 18. And I mean, it was, but you know, you had to wait like 30 minutes for a picture to download. So I'm old.
Or go through the scrambled HBO.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We remember those days. Oh yeah.
mom and dad's going to bed. It's time to go turn on HBO.
You're trying to watch movies through all the squiggly lines.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I saw
I
some.
saw a nipple.
I saw that where they're like, they saw the static. They're like, was that a boob? So another big news in the industry this week, which actually might be of interest to some of our content creators that are hanging out there. Corsair,
To be honest,
Corsair
Yeah,
makes
sorry,
a
go
big Corsair makes a big push and buys Elgato Gaming, which I thought was huge. For one, Corsair's been really making a push towards gamers and their, the stuff they really want, which has actually been kind of cool. Like everybody wanted, they went into this RGB phase and did all this stuff, and Llama, that face. I saw him going. Anyway, and now they're making the big push and taking all of their streaming products, which are pretty much like one of the hottest items you could pretty much get for any streaming. I mean, Llama, myself, and a bunch of other content creators have the Elgato green screen, or they have the Elgato something or another, like a capture card, or any of the stuff that they offer, which is fantastic. It's really good stuff. Like a Stream Deck, I have 2 Stream Decks in front of me, for example.
Jesus, you had 2?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't even have 1.
Yeah, it's
I got the HD60 the Elgato game capture though.
Yeah. All the capture cards are awesome, so those are pretty good. I have a lot of fun with them.
The Stream Deck is fancy schmancy.
Yeah, Corsair has actually made a big move towards gamers with the PC ports and now the streaming company. Yeah, so they're just taking over with all the stuff they really want. I mean, like the Stream Deck, for example, this biggest update that just happened this past week. By the way, if anybody hasn't tried it, it's fantastic with the multi-action. Best feature they have ever added, hands down.
Yeah, I'm all about some scene switching on my streams. I need to pick me up one of those things.
Yeah, the multi thing doing it, it's fantastic. I literally cannot get enough of it now. Now I'm like making multi actions for all kinds of different things. It's great.
Yeah.
I still can't wrap my head around buying one when like you can just set up any hotkey you want and like it does the exact same shit.
This is even simpler than a hotkey now. The fact that you could add up to 50 actions per button.
Because you can do a bunch of stuff. Plus you can tie in like down.
But if you have a macro keyboard, you can do the exact same thing. You just set up a bunch of different hotkeys and then macro it to one button.
But instead of like having to go and find all the actions to do it, it's literally a drag and drop. You just drag and drop, select a timer.
I get that it's simpler, but like I don't know.
Yeah. I
just can't spend money on that when I can do the same thing with like maybe a 5% extra work.
Save that money.
I think for me the benefit of it is that it's a little bit easier. Like I don't know, I would still have to look down at my keyboard to hit my hotkey.
That one look.
Yeah, that split second is gonna
kills the whole mood, man.
Corsair's reliable.
How am I supposed to do a mega eyeball zoom if I'm looking over here? I got to do the eyeball zoom, then they see my fat head, and then I'm like,
See, that's almost better.
that interaction level for that, right? That interaction level.
That's good. Just like
But yeah, Dr. Project, I definitely agree. Corsair is definitely very reliable. I mean, over half my PC is built with Corsair products, including the case. Their cases are fantastic. I moved away from Antec because I liked Corsair's cases better, and in fact, like my next build is probably going to use their new 1000D case with the ability to put two PCs into one case, essentially.
Corsair's been around since computing, so
Yeah, very early days. Yeah. So we're getting on to the next news, back to gaming stuff and outside of the industry stuff. Some big news in Fortnite this week. One of them happens to be the playground mode that was supposed to come out. It actually got launched this week, pulled out, and it's getting delayed till next week because they have some bugs to work out on it. So that was kind of a thing. Not a lot of people were excited about it.
That's one of the smartest things. Like, that's one of the coolest things, and I hope every battle royale has a mode like it. Because, like, here's the deal: I am a hot, steamy pile of garbage at battle royale games, and they're freaking hard, dude. Like, and then like to add to the fact that it's hard to get good at it because you drop in and then you have to wait like 2 minutes to get into a match after you die instantly because you suck. And it's hard to get good at a game. Now, if there's something like where you could just continuously drop in and learn the mechanics that way, it just seems better to me.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so
Like
it's
challenge
not.
mode?
That's a good thing, I think.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wish
so
this
bad.
was like permanent because it's like as you said, it's so good to just learn the ropes and
Yep.
to not have to worry about other players killing you or trolling you or whatnot.
Should
You know, you
totally
go in with
be
your
a permanent
friends. Yeah, I would love that.
I can't even play these games because the second that somebody shoots at me, I'm already jumping out of my chair.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah,
scares
that's
the
like
hell out of me.
that's like me with Fortnite, dude. Like, there's so much shit to do. Every time I get into an encounter, I'm like, oh god, do I build? Do I run? Do I hide? Should I shoot at them?
Figuring out the actions is where it's at. Definitely, it's hard. Then the new thing is they're leading into their new season 5 update. I think it's season 5, right?
Yeah,
I want to say
season five.
so. Season 5 is coming up soon, and they have done a whole thing where they did an event yesterday that a rocket shot up and cracked open the sky apparently, and we've got kind of a cool video to show you about that. Polygon, we took a video from Polygon and borrowed it. Credit to Polygon for this video, and we're gonna go ahead and
They
show.
broke the sky.
Yeah, so go check out this trailer that we're gonna show off here right now.
Let's see it. I have a pissed off cat. Oh, this is like Fortnite PvE?
No, it's a
Oh
PvP.
no, that's in Battle Royale.
Yeah, it's Battle Royale. There's all the people actually like working together to actually watch it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, I guess that was kind of like we knew that was going to happen, right? Because in the last update came and they had the big missile silos.
Yep, and nobody knew what they were.
Obviously, something's happening with that. They're going to launch them. Guess they did.
And this video shows a great, like, all the way through the process of what happened.
That's
So
really cool.
I got to see it live.
Isn't there more than one missile silo, though? Or am I wrong about that? I think I'm wrong about that.
I don't know, actually. I don't know how many there are.
What is that?
Ooh.
What's happening? Oh my god, there's stuff going on.
It's like a missile teleporting through, like, little cracks or something.
Yeah. What the heck? That is super interesting
Oh.
looking. Whoa. Hey, sweetie.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, like, so the reason why I wanted to show this is it's Epic is doing something with Fortnite that I don't think I'd ever see. Others aside of like MMOs basically doing this, where they're going and putting in full-on events that transcend into their next season or their next update or something along those lines, which I thought was fantastic. Like, why aren't more companies really trying to put even events like this into the game? Like, it changes like how you want to see it and play it. Like, it gets people excited to play the next update.
Like instead of just a trailer.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, they're kind of like it's like they're kind of they're kind of like, I don't know, how do you say it? They're loosely adding in like Save the World, their PvE stuff into the battle royale world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's hints to it. You know, like there's a whole theme behind Fortnite.
Yeah. And it's really cool, like how they're doing a lot of this stuff for the new updates and everything.
I love watching these videos, like all these videos, like you'll see like there's people like actually kind of working together and they're not killing each other. They're all just trying to look up and see the rock and see all the crazy stuff that's happening. Like that's really awesome that they're kind of just promoting this event like this and then people could just go crazy about it.
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah, and then you're right. Yeah, you did that with Carolyn Star. A couple of games have done it in mild fashions, or done it with like their like a public event starting or something like that, or things like that basically. But to this degree, where they get everybody excited about doing it, and then they make it a big deal basically into the next season of
They're
content.
doing seasons correctly over there at
Epic
Games.
Absolutely.
And everybody's trying to play catch up with that essentially.
They just get everybody, like they build so much hype around it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like when the last season dropped, and that was a big deal, right? With the meteor and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was so much hype surrounding that, and everybody was just like, "Oh my god, this is crazy," And then they had like the little meteorites falling for like the week or two before the update hit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, they're pretty smart about how they're promoting that.
Yeah. Zenda, and you make a very good point. There's a lot of people that are just like you. Like I like Fortnite to some degree. Like I can only play it for so long before I start raging and wanting to fucking break things. But I like following the content creators that really do enjoy it and seeing all the lore and story and events and everything transpire, because it's a different style of, or I would say an evolution in gaming to some degree.
Right.
Like we're not just playing the game, we're watching our extra narrative that they're giving us randomly that we didn't expect or ask for that matter.
Yeah. Honestly, though, like also the PvE portion of Fortnite is like pretty involved and in depth and extensive. There's a lot of loot to acquire, different guns, different characters, and content to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like everybody just automatically equates Fortnite to Battle Royale because that's what everybody plays. But I think Fortnite, like Epic, I think the whole reason why they're doing a lot of what they're doing with Battle Royale is to promote Save the World. Because, they were working on that game for years, and then they just kind of were like, hey, let's put a Battle Royale in. And then all of a sudden the game blew up,
Yeah, it was like just for shits and giggles, basically.
Portion, that was their baby.
That don't know that there was a PvE version first.
Yeah, right. What's funny is, like they said when they originally launched the original Battle Royale for Fortnite, that it was literally thrown together in like less than a month after they made the base game, because the base game was structured so well.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. So part of our next news is Showtime finally announces the new Halo TV series to start filming next year. It's finally approved and going. I'm really excited to see this. Yeah, finally. Like we've been hearing rumors of this for a while.
Halo series?
Yeah. Awesome. I mean, we've been hearing rumors about this for at least 3 years now, I want to say. Or some close to
Red versus Blue.
Oh, Red versus Blue is amazing. Rooster Teeth does an amazing job with that one.
I love Halo, man. I really think they have an incredible lore, and like even those rumors about like the movie that was supposed to happen like years ago with like I think who was it? The guy that did Lord of the Rings is Peter Jackson, I believe. Yeah, Peter Jackson, and there's another guy that did District 9. They're supposed to work on it, and I was so hyped for that. And he even did like these little small videos, and like they were so cool, so awesome. And then there was all kind of weird licensing deals that just never went through. But to have this now finally happening to be a TV series, which I feel like is perfect for a lot of games because they have such long stories. I'm really really excited for it.
And that brings us back to Showtime too. Like Showtime has been struggling for quite some time on their content too.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. A lot of times when they make movies of video games, it ends up being a flop because 2 hours is just not enough to really showcase the lore and the story of a game. But I think TV series could be a medium, and if this works out, maybe we could see other games getting a TV show or something. I think TV shows might be the best way to showcase a video game story. So, I don't know much about Halo. I've never played a Halo game. I've always been PlayStation instead of Xbox, but I'm interested in seeing this. I'll be watching the series and
Never played a Halo game?
No, I've never had an Xbox. So
didn't Halo come out on PC eventually though?
Well, I didn't have a gaming PC until
So they recently did like the Halo Online or whatever, and then it got pulled because it was a mod, not an actual one. But Halo Infinity got announced that it's going to be a cross-play PC, Xbox One, and they're going to have a lot of fun with that. That I'm looking forward to. Like a PC port finally for Halo in the longest time is going to be amazing, all on its own.
I just wanted to put this out there that my green screen kind of flashing back there in the background is not my fault. You guys can blame that on RuneShift.
No, it's your fault.
It's all your fault. Just kidding. So we got another back to this part of the Fortnite thing. The PUBG developer Bluehole, or the company Bluehole, PUBG Corp, has dropped the lawsuit probably in sight of all the backlash they've been receiving on it. So they finally dropped that. That's actually a good thing. So we've got one less random legal battle that doesn't need to exist out there for other things.
I bet you it wasn't over backlash. I bet you their lawyers were like, "You got nothing." If they had any chance of being able to win in that lawsuit, they wouldn't have dropped it.
I mean, PUBG itself is not an original concept. I mean, like Battle Royale has been a thing both in movies and games in the past.
Yeah. In fact, I think it was movies that really started it, and then Brendan Green made all the mods that made Battle Royale popular, which is the guy that was behind
Wasn't there a Minecraft mod that was like?
Oh yeah,
dude, there's a mod for everything that has Battle Royale.
Yeah, like literally tons of stuff. It's insane.
The Hunger Games was a Battle Royale movie.
Yeah.
No,
Battle Royale.
The movie Battle Royale
was a Battle Royale.
Oh, was there a movie called Battle Royale?
1998. 1988 or
90s movie, and you got to see it. It is the most.
It's a 1980s movie, bro.
No.
Amazing.
It's like it's 98. It was made in 98. But it is fantastic. It is like still one of my favorite movies, like for that kind of just like stuff, like ever.
It is brutal.
It is brutal.
And it's based on the book Battle Royale.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that they didn't have a leg to stand on anyway. So.
Yeah. I think the only thing they're saying is because like they're both Battle Royale and they use Unreal Engine,
an engine that they own though.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's
Yeah, Hunger Games is literally Western Battle Royale, yeah.
But yeah, it's stupid.
So we're going on to the next topic. Left 4 Dead developer has started hiring for an unannounced AAA title for a globally known franchise. I have no idea what that could be. They don't really speculate much in this, but there is some interesting concepts in this. I'm excited. I mean, if Left 4 Dead is coming out with a new title, which supposedly there was 3 they announced like 2 years ago, but we haven't heard a peep of it since then.
Dude, Left 4 Dead 3 would be so much fucking fun. Yeah, I'd be so hyped for that.
Oh, dude. They do it in like a newer engine too. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so many companies have been coming out with a newer like Left 4 Dead style game, like Earthfall and a couple other ones. Like they're good, but like Left 4 Dead, man, they really kind of pioneered that whole, 4-player co-op, zombie crazy.
That was just fun. I haven't played it in ages, man. That makes me want to like fire it up and play a little bit. I bet you people are still playing it.
Oh hell, shit! I played it last week. Like, and there's still tons of people. There's thousands of people still playing it.
See, there you go.
We're gonna get on to Potato Pleb's favorite game topic here. Destiny 2 is getting a new Prestige raid layers and Crucible changes coming up here pretty soon, which is actually pretty awesome. I'm excited.
I just need Destiny 2. I need it on PC.
Yeah, it's just.
I'm gonna like break down and end up going back to it. I just don't want to like, dude. Anyways, I don't want to talk about it.
He's like, damn, I gotta go through all that stuff again. There's a lot of cool updates that are coming here. You guys can check it out in the article over here. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited because they're actually finally getting it right. Like, the game is actually a lot of fun. I've been playing it a lot since I got it for the Humble deal. And
Yeah! I downloaded that Humble Bill and subscribe thingy, and it was supposed to give me Destiny 2 because it was June, and no.
Everything mentioned that.
yeah, I know. I'm sorry. The next big thing is Overwatch announced a new character this week, which was actually kind of cool. I'm excited because it's actually a different like character theme than anything else they've done. I mean, there is robots, there is other stuff.
It's out already, right?
It's on the PTR currently.
Oh, okay. I was just saying.
So Hammond, the new hamster with a fucking rollerball, death rollerball,
Cutest, most awesome thing
it's a
I've ever
hamster.
seen.
right?
Awesome, yeah.
I like the fact that it's basically this crazy hamster in a ball, and he's gonna go and murder you.
Yeah,
It is
Have you seen
fantastic.
his death animation? That's been going like viral.
What is it?
It's so just like sad. It's just like he kind of pops out of the tank and just like flops out and just falls like a
It's like
ragdoll.
it's like the most heartbreaking thing. Like,
Yeah,
why?
you gotta check it out when you can. It is.
Oh man, yeah, I definitely have to check that one out. So we're gonna lead into kind of our top story for today with Bethesda. Bethesda is kind of like our hot topic today because a lot of things have happened this week. But for one, we'll start with one of the Fallout 4 mods that apparently mimic what life will be like in Fallout 76 with nukes. So I'm kind of interested to see how this is. I'm almost tempted to like install Fallout 4 just to try this to try this thing.
It looks pretty funny. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't really feel like that's how Fallout 76 is gonna
No.
play. But the way that the guy did it, though, he made this mod that like basically adds random griefers, like people, like they're basically NPCs, but like he gives them like human type names and
Like Leap Pone's boss.
yeah. They'll just like come around and screw with you while you're playing the game, and then he also added a thing that like shoots random nukes at you as you're walking around and shit.
So I thought that was really awesome, like to mess around with that and give players a little kind of oddball, skewed taste of it. I don't know if that's how it's really going to be, because I'm sure it's going to take a lot more than just, players getting in and finding a nuke right away. I don't think they're going to be that easy. And that's even something they mentioned during their press conference. They're not going to be that easy to find.
That's like what every meme is, though. Like, how to play Fallout 76, find new codes.
Yeah, basically. Like all the memes since then. One of the big things that came up was going back to the lawsuit topic of, the PUBG Fortnite thing. Bethesda decided to sue Warner Brothers for the Westworld game blatant ripoff of Fallout Shelter, which we were talking about this a little bit before the show. At first, like on hindsight, if you look at both games, they're relatively similar. Like you could tell they're pretty similar. The character style, the world style, the animation style of the characters, stuff like that. But when you get into the nitty gritty,
They actually used the code.
They actually used
That's the
parts of the
problem.
code, which is funny because, well, not funny, but it's really shitty actually. That
Honestly, I don't understand why they're suing Warner. Shouldn't they be suing the development company that made the choice to use that code?
it's Warner that asked for it, I guess, or approved it all or something. So they're going for the parent company basically to trickle down and see how. I don't know how it works in that regard. Maybe everything has to go to the head or not, but there's bugs in Fallout Shelter that exist in Fallout Shelter that apparently exist in the Westworld game, which is really where the dead giveaway happens. Like the animations, the character
exact
stuff.
same bugs. It's like,
Yeah, and they had really good reason. It's all in the code. There's some really good examples online of it. Do check it out. We do have one of the Polygon. Oh yeah, I back Bethesda. Bethesda is honestly like one of the most trustworthy brands in terms of gaming, in my
Oh
opinion.
yeah. I mean, like I was saying before the show, like before I knew that it was exact code that was copied. I mean, like games looking similar, games that have similar mechanics. That's one thing. I wouldn't back suing
Yeah,
somebody
come out
for
with
that.
something original though.
But-
That's
Yeah.
a straight up cash grab, dude.
Wait,
Like,
yeah,
they're
when you straight
Warner.
up take
They don't even make
code-
games.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I mean,
And they announced this game
Bethesda
sometime.
making a game makes sense, right? But then like Warner making a game for their stupid show. Well, actually, it's not a stupid show. It's kind of a good show. But like, That's just a cat. They're just trying to make some money.
Yeah, they announced this.
Yeah.
And
This
they're ripping off another developer. Like, what the hell?
they announced this game at the end of the last season, so it's been over a year since they announced this game. But Fallout Shelter's been out way before that either. So it's just like, why would you guys even do that?
Yeah, if anybody's a Westworld fan, now might be a good time to download it because I'm sure it's not going to be there for
Ain't gonna
much
last
longer.
long.
No, I've been playing it a little bit this week. It's actually pretty fun. It is very different in
I'm
terms of
assuming
like
it's probably as fun as Fallout Shelter.
Probably.
I mean, it's like the gameplay style is a little different. Like, yeah, you have the underground caverns that do all your stuff, like for your buildings and all that kind of stuff above the park or below the park. But the stuff that's in the park is pretty cool because you're interacting with guests. Like how good or bad you do with it changes on that. But it really just plays on their types of hosts. Basically, are the same thing. You basically replace that with the stats, like your strength stat or whatever stats you had in Fallout Shelter. So like a lot of it is like a blatant ripoff, just reskinned, like to some degree. So it's really interesting. Like once you really dig into it, you'll see the differences where a lot of it is just Westworld Fallout Shelter, essentially. So that's kind of.
I mean, I don't even like. I guess maybe Fallout Shelter is popular. I've not like. I downloaded it once, and it's just a boring game.
It's enough for them to like to go and put it on every other platform, basically. But it's like I think it's the first
That's right,
week.
they did do that, huh?
Yeah,
like,
the
it's on Switch now and everything else.
like the first week when they announced Fallout 4 and they put Fallout Shelter out, it was like 4.5 million downloads for just that week alone. So it's been way more since then, I imagine.
Interesting.
And going on to our top story today is Bethesda going after Sony yet again for crossplay. Like we talked about this a lot last week with how a lot of companies are really upset with Sony. Ultimately, crossplay all comes down to Sony now. Microsoft's on board with it. Nintendo's on board with it.
Dinks.
Yeah, everybody's wants to work with PC. PS4, for whatever reason, only wants to work with PC, but they don't want to work with anybody else. But you got big titles like Fallout 76, or Anthem, or Destiny, or Rocket League, or any of these things. They're all blocked by Sony in the end, ultimately. Yep. Like, everybody is just, getting rocked by it. And the fact that they're coming out with an awesome game that everybody wants to play together later this year is insane. Like, what do you think people are going to do when they can't play together because they're separated by a platform? I mean, right. Captain, you brought up a really good.
Well, I'll tell you what PlayStation is banking on them doing is the people who want to play it and don't have a PlayStation and need to play it with their friends on PlayStation. They're hoping that they're going to go buy a PlayStation.
That's all it is.
Yeah. That's the whole point, like.
Yeah, Sony, they're pretty much like they're the market leaders of this generation. They've sold the most consoles. They have the biggest player base. So they see it as like, if we do crossplay, we allow our people to connect the Xbox and Nintendo, and it's like, what's the purpose of them buying our console?
Yeah. They've got like number crunchers and pencil pushers that are like behind the scenes, and they're looking at stats and they're going, you guys, it doesn't make sense for us. Like as gamers, we're like, this is maddening and crazy, but like when they're looking at their bottom line and their numbers, they're probably looking at it and saying, we're going to lose market share.
Yeah. I mean, a company's number one purpose is to please shareholders.
Yeah. It's kind of like the old. It's kind of like the old debate between like Windows and Mac, right? Like, and I'm not talking about in the context of gaming. I'm talking about in the context of like proprietary software. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like Apple went down a road where they're like, everything is proprietary. Our hardware is made specifically to work with our software. Whereas Windows is like, well, we're just going to make this software and then you can put it on whatever hardware you want. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's a different philosophy and a different method. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad for them. It could be bad for the customers though, for like us.
Oh yeah.
Like it makes sense like on their first party titles, but if you think about it, even most of their first party titles, like a majority of them are all single player games. Like, and all these third party companies really want their games to be played anywhere. The game companies want their stuff to be out there. They want their players to enjoy it regardless of what platform they are. And I think it was Captain, you put something in your Discord where you were talking about like, stuff like this needs to stop. Like it really does ultimately.
Yeah, like when you think about it, like for these third party developers to have their game be cross play, like it's better for them because it's, you know, anywhere if people can play it, they want to play, and they buy stuff like Fortnite, they could buy microtransaction and carry it over to another platform, this and that. Like that's a better move for them. Like Sony, they're at the point where it's kind of like damn if you do, damn if you don't, because like if they don't and they're, you know, continue to be ignorant and don't allow crossplay, then that, you know, people are going to remember that, like how people remembered all the BS that Xbox did when this generation started with the always online and the connect this sports and TV that, you know, they're going to remember this move, and that's going to ultimately hurt Sony, you know. And I get that. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I get that, you know, the business standpoint as far as like not allowing crossplay, but then again, it's like, you know, you might as well, because if you do this, you're going to, you know, potentially hurt yourself.
I bet you that they're probably trying to develop something that will allow them to have a bigger space there, and because like if cross platform is going to start becoming like a thing, companies are going to want to get in on it, you know what I'm saying, and try to figure out how they can make money on it, you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
I would not be surprised if at some point we see some sort of thing where it's like a small monthly subscription or some money that you have to pay, but then it unlocks PlayStation's cross console feature, you know what I'm cross platform,
or even something along the lines of like, okay, we're going to allow crossplay, but now you're only going to get a bunch of these items only on PlayStation, so it forces the money to come to PlayStation. The problem is, Zandal put in a comment on the problem with Sony is they're right a lot of the times. They get so smug. They were right about backwards compatibility not being worth it. Then Xbox came out saying, despite everyone asking for it, backwards compatibility games are being played account for 0.1% of the time and cost Microsoft a ton of money. Sony is right about what costs money. Well, that's true. That's true. But it's at the same time too, you're going to get people. You're going to get companies that are going to have to choose what platforms they want to be on in the future. Like if it gets to the point where they could go cross-plat with any other platform and stuff like that, they're going to stop releasing. They're going to save some money, cut development on PS4, and release everywhere else just to have the cross-platform.
Yeah, and then the other thing is too, like I don't think they're just trying to sell consoles. Like, Sony makes a lot of money off of their exclusive deals with developers too. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing too. Yeah.
And if everything is cross-platform, then there's no such thing as an exclusive Sony game. You know.
Or the exclusive content like they do with Destiny and Black Ops and all this other stuff.
Yep.
Like, I mean, if they wanted to do that, you know, by all means, go keep the early access on their DLCs and little extra stuff like that. But I mean, allow the players to play together in the end. I mean, that those little exclusives are still going to drive a lot of business to them. Like, they're not going to lose out based on that either.
Yeah, I feel like this is mainly concerning multiplayer anyway. Like, if you look at that, like they could probably still do stuff like that with the exclusive deals. Like, just like have it be like Sony only people that have access to that, and then, you know, when you're playing out with other people, you know, you could just play with Xbox people, Nintendo people with other content in the game and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Google
I also kind of wonder if there's like legal stuff too, because you know how like different platforms have different terms of service. You know what I'm saying? So how does that work when you're like on a PlayStation and your buddy's on an Xbox and there's completely different terms of service? You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe there's some legal stuff.
I think that falls in line of the game's terms of service, which they all have to.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
So yeah, I heard about the Google working on a games console. I haven't seen a whole lot of actual solid detail on it outside of they're working on it.
That could be dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
What happened in the States with just like internet providers when Google decides that like they're going to drop a hub in a city.
It could just be a flop, or it could be something big.
It's gonna be something huge, dude. It's Google. They have so
Wasn't
much
there rumors of like Amazon?
Well, I mean, Google
potentially
came out
working on
with Google
something too?
Glasses, and that flopped. You know, they can.
It's gonna
Google specs.
It's gonna come down to exactly what it comes down to for every console. What content can you put out?
Yeah.
I mean,
or what companies want to support it.
Why is it? Yeah. Why would I get that when I already have a PlayStation or an Xbox? Like, what makes it better?
But why do you have a PlayStation and an Xbox?
I said or an Xbox.
Yeah, but most people have both. Like, I have both.
I have both.
Almost everybody I know has both.
Fine.
So as soon as there's like another console that's like maybe a little bit better or has some different shit, you're eventually gonna pick it up.
Yeah.
It's not like buying another gaming rig. You're looking at $3,000.
It's probably gonna be browser based.
Open source browser based. Everybody's gonna jump in on it, put in code, be done.
Yeah.
Malware everywhere. My God.
Honestly, I honestly think we're gonna start seeing more things that are similar to the GE Force Now. Like
Yeah.
it's actually it's a decent thing, dude. Like I play literally every game that you can play on a PC at the highest settings on my MacBook Pro, you know?
Yeah.
Uh
And that's removing
and
that. That's removing another barrier that you used to have now. Like because Macs, I mean, from my opinion, Macs have never been a huge, like individual content selling thing. Like
yeah,
for
well,
as far in terms
Apple's
of games
never
anyway.
tried to get into the gaming market.
Yeah,
really.
they never really get into the gaming market. They didn't have the hardware. They
Until
didn't
recently, I
until
should
recently.
say.
But then now you get GeForce Now, which is completely smashing that barrier. Now you can play all your games on a PC wherever and not have that strain on your own PC because of it too, which is also
Yep.
huge.
And there's also other added benefits to it as well. Like the fact that okay, so say you want to get a game, right? And so you find it on there. When you download it, it literally is instant.
Yeah.
Like there's no waiting for it. You click the thing, boom, the
Yeah,
game is there and
it's preloaded.
and you're playing, dude.
I think it's preloaded.
Yeah. Well, it's not preloaded, but it is an instant download thing. So like if you don't have the game in your Steam library and then you go to you hit play on the GE Force Now app, it'll launch Steam and then you click download, but it literally downloads it that fast and you're playing it.
Yeah. And it's good. And I see like all these things that we get to talk about and finally, get to see some of it too is just removing barriers for gamers to play. Like gamers ultimately just want to play, and then a lot of people want to play together. Like there's no reason, anybody shouldn't be able to play together in this terms of things.
Another point to add, I think even Xbox, like they talked about how they believe that this next generation will be the last generation of consoles, and after that, the internet will be so good all around where they could just go into streaming and offer streaming services. And I feel like you pay for an Xbox streaming services or a PlayStation or a Nintendo streaming service. I feel like it only makes sense to have those games be cross-platform, so you're not kind of paying for all these services at once and getting the same games and stuff like that. Like. Of course.
And that's what GeForce Now is it's just a streaming service, but like you're playing.
Well, it's kind of silly to have
cloud,
every single console, a PC, play for streaming. So like this could all be one thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's good. The GeForce Now in that terms too is awesome because I mean you still have to own the game. You can't just jump in and do it unless it's a free to play game. But aside of that, like everything else is like, oh, you just boot it up and play it. But it's also in the whole thing where PC gamers, there's a lot of PC gamers out there that don't have a good enough rig to play like a good enough game. They can't play Realm Royale or Fortnite or whatever. Instead, if they have enough, requirements just to boot GeForce Now, which takes next to nothing, now you can boom, you can go and play.
Decent internet.
Yeah, you have a little decent internet connection. Boom, now you can play everything.
Yeah.
Once we have 4K consoles, the highest resolution human eye can even fathom, what's the point of going any further? Yeah, there's not really a whole lot of big next steps aside of that. Aside of deeper VR. Yeah, deeper VR. And I mean, you have VR, which is on the rudimentary part right now, but then you get a wireless one, then you get the 360 one, then you get one you could actually like interact and live in.
Yeah, they also have a long way to go with graphics still. Like I still am waiting for a game to look like real life.
Yeah,
which they've getting
might be waiting a while.
Closer and closer all the time, but it's never anything is like, holy shit, this is like watching a freaking movie, Like
some of the like the really nice like Blur trailers, for example, the company named Blur, they do like all the Planet Side 2. God, there's a majority of them. There's like Battlefield, I think they do a couple of them there, but they all do like these really awesome trailers and stuff for games that are just like super realistic. I mean, the textures, everything. People is where they get it's a little harder on, but like terrain, buildings, the environment, like stuff like that, they really nailed down like really good now.
Right. Yeah.
I was playing Doom in 4K for a second, man. I could have sworn I was in hell. That mess was freaky. It was awesome.
Yo, the Doom VFR is insane. Like,
I bet.
It's freaking insane, dude.
Yeah, Rum Waffle brings up his Blur Studios. I was like, I knew it was Blur something. But yeah, Blur was amazing. Like they do a lot of really cool stuff. I don't know if I could find their
The Crew 2 launched on GeForce Now too.
Oh, that's right. Crew 2 actually also came. I completely forgot about putting that in there. How they actually launched Crew 2 for the gold pass members, I believe, only, and then
yeah, that was stupid.
Well, I mean, it's the same like Microsoft does with their Gold Pass or their Premium Pass. You know,
I thought it was like they do it mostly like when you just pre-order it. You have to pre-order the whole gold edition just to get early access.
yeah, you have to
Really?
get the whole. So I think this is the one. Yeah. So they do a bunch of them. There's actually ones for ESO. There's ones for Destiny, Lawbreakers, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Far Cry 5, Titanfall, Knights of the Eternal Throne, Atlas Reactor, Halo War. Like, there's all kinds of games in here.
You could just stream all these games.
No, these are all the trailers from Blur Studios.
True. Oh, okay. I thought
So like all the ones they do that are like pretty realistic for the most part. Like they're really cool looking. I mean, there's some of them that look like about as close as you can get now, at least currently. I mean, once you have the hardware that gives you max graphics, everything has to be on game graphics, and there won't be any point. Yeah, exactly. Like you have to get stuff that's really worth it, gameplay wise and everything to the player. I mean, just like anything else. I mean, you gotta have a good game and a reason for people to want to come back and play it, especially in terms of multiplayer. Like if you get in multiplayer, you have to give replayability. Or if it's a single player game that has our co-op, our co-op game, for example, you have to have a ton of replayability in that too. They give players that different feeling. But like crossplay though, I really wish, or I hope, that barrier can be dropped eventually at some point. Like I get it, Sony's probably got their reasons for it and all that kind of stuff, and a majority of it is probably money. But at the same time, there's a lot of ways around where you could still give players crossplay and still keep, and retain that part of the business that they're afraid of losing.
Yeah, it's gonna have to go away eventually, no matter what.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Like that's the way the future is. Like everybody playing together, like that. Those walls are eventually gonna be gone. So like the longer they wait, I don't know. They better be coming up with something good because they're fighting the inevitability here.
Yeah, basically.
I'm a little surprised to learn that Google's coming out with a
Yeah, I completely had passed on that, but there wasn't much. There wasn't a whole lot about it.
But look at their company, man. Like they're crazy rich. Like it's like even if this is a shot in the dark for them, like they're not really gonna lose out. Like it's not gonna crush their company to like launch a failed console. Like why not throw their hat in the ring?
I wouldn't be surprised to see an Amazon console at some point.
Yeah, I was saying. Like, I thought there was like
Amazon's
rumors
another
about
one.
that like a couple years ago about them trying to get into the console business, but I guess it fizzled out.
an Alexa console.
Oh God, it'll just laugh at you in the middle of the night. Like, Alexa shit.
Oh my God.
I mean, they already tried once with the Google Play console, which was kind of ridiculous, unless that's what it is. Like, but anyway, yeah, or the speculation on it. But the Google Yeti was another one too, or something like that. There's a couple
Wasn't
like.
there a Steam console?
Well, yeah,
Or, like,
yeah,
Steam did
Steam
something?
machines.
the Steam Links.
Well, I thought that was just like a Steam Play thing. It was like
Oh,
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
I don't even know, but
Oh.
I
you
think Steam
you'd
Link
think a
is
company
just
like
a thing.
Steam.
I stand
Steam
corrected.
Link is just a thing that streams your PC games to your TV.
Yeah, it's just
Okay,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's just
So
an
it wasn't
extender,
really a console so
No.
much.
except for the Steam machines, which were like just it's like a TV hookup, tiny little gaming PC that you can hook up to your TV.
yeah, that was such a stupid idea with the Steam machines. It should have just been like one kind of thing instead of like, because the thing that I felt like killed it was the fact that you had to like choose your Steam machine and all the stuff you wanted to put in it, which is pretty much like a PC. It was like, why not
yeah.
just buy a
Why not
PC?
just have a PC?
I think
Yeah.
the thing on it was the affordability. Like the most expensive one you could get was like $1,000 at the time.
Yeah, so that could be a thing too. Like if Google comes out with something that's like super cheap but just as good as the other consoles, that could be a game changer.
Yeah,
You
and
know
there,
what I'm saying?
and I guess this article that I just found, there's the Yeti console rumors, is actually mostly it's going to be focused on streaming. So it's going to be taking on kind of like the GeForce Now and stuff like that. It's going to be a simple thing that's just going to be able to play what you want to play, which could be a big deal, really big deal. So I'm excited to see what they do with that. There's a lot of cool stuff on the horizon for some of these things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that wraps up our news for today. So, any final thoughts for today, guys?
Don't even
No.
give up, give in. That's it.
Yeah, Sonny, give up, give in.
Yeah. I sent you a friend request on Fortnite if you still got that Save the World code, Rune.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I think that wraps it up for today, guys and gals. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Today's been a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool stuff that's on the horizon. A lot of stuff that we've talked about. I'm glad some things have dropped, like the PUBG Epic Games thing. Left 4 Dead 2 devs working on stuff was really exciting. I can't wait to see what comes out of that. And a lot of cool stuff on the horizon for streamers. I mean, content creators in general. There's a lot of really cool stuff on the horizon with new mergers, new tools, new discovery, new platforms. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that are really kind of coming up and everything. But thank you all so much for joining us today. I definitely appreciate it. And we'll see you all next time. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.